Is renting the new owning this week on the Extreme Personal Finance Show? Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the Extreme Personal Finance Show. My name is Chris, and this week I'm joined by my good friend April. April, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Some of you may recognize April. She was on episode a few months back. April, just give us a little quick rundown. Who are you and why are you here?
Um, who am I? Chris,
Well,
it's a
you believe
question.
that financial literacy, we should be using that as a tool for empowerment, and you should be intentional with your money, that type of thing. That's what you said last time, anyway.
Really?
You did.
Wow.
You said you were just getting into it. You went through Dave Ramsey's like financial peace stuff.
Oh, that episode.
Yeah.
Like the renting tone. That was a long time
Oh,
ago.
the rent to own episode. Oh my gosh, that was like 2021. Okay, so let's actually talk about this a little bit. So you and I, we actually recorded an episode. Well, I'll find the episode number. I don't know. It was like so long ago. It was like up to 2021.
It had
I
to
think it
have
was
been like episode one or
it was
two.
it was super early. Like I had just started doing the podcast, and we talked about renting versus owning, and we compared real numbers to
Yeah.
me owning and you renting.
Yeah.
And there was and then we also, the interesting thing was like not only comparing the real numbers, we also talked about, well, all of the amenities that you got from renting. Like you had like a pool, entertainment room, like all of the things that, yeah. So this kind of stems off of another podcast I was recently on. I was recently on one of the roundtable episodes of the Stacking Benjamins show, and they talked about renting versus buying.
Oh, that was the one.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I just feel as though there wasn't some specific stuff that I wanted to kind of share, right? And I feel as though it really kind of hits me hard. Like I read an article earlier, and we'll post a link to this article, that the National Association of Home Builders states that as of Q1 2025, U.S. homeownership rate has dipped to 65.1%. So the lowest level of people own houses in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So they made a point saying that renting is actually more affordable nationwide. So in 50 of the largest like metro areas, renting is currently more economical than buying,
I
right?
believe that.
Because on average, a mortgage payment is 38% higher than rent, which is crazy.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And that's not even saying, well, you got to save money for a down payment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Or let's not forget about the things that can go wrong in the first 2 years after you own a house. Like, oh, hey,
Oh
the
gosh.
roof gets damaged, the siding gets damaged, and then the insurance company decides not to cover all of it.
Oh, dude, don't even get me going. So yeah, insurance, that can be a whole nother episode. So
Yes.
so seeing that data, right, showing that it can be cheaper to rent than like
Mhm.
to own a home. Do you think this is like something that's temporary? Like, is this like just a little blip? Or is this like a longer term market shift? Is this something that we're going to see moving forward?
You know, I feel like I don't know, I feel like COVID changed a lot of things with people um like wanting to be on the go.
That's
Everybody
fair.
wants to work remote. Everybody wants to be able to go where they want to go. And so I feel like people don't want the buying a house lifestyle. They don't want to have to be stuck somewhere. Planting roots doesn't seem to be, a priority anymore. And then
Sure.
two, something else that I'm curious about is, do you think that those numbers or that percentage has anything to do with the fact that so many people are buying homes and Airbnb them?
I wonder if they account for some of that in the data. I don't know.
Because I know people they're not necessarily gonna rent, but I don't know. If people are on the go all the time, maybe it is economical for them in some ways to just Airbnb every time they leave and go somewhere.
Whoa, did you hear that? Holy crap.
Yeah.
That like shook my freaking home. Okay. So you pointed out something. So let's talk a little bit about that. So, because this is something that I've talked about before too, and it's something that I failed to mention like on a different episode. was it kind of is a shift in lifestyle, right? So what you
Mhm.
mentioned, people may be choosing to not only can it be more economical, right? But they're choosing flexibility
Mhm.
over stability, right? So
Right.
sometimes you can there's no long-term commitments. It's easier to relocate. I mean, literally, you have that portability. You can just pick up and
Mhm.
go, and you have freedom from like all the maintenance responsibilities and all that.
Right. Hashtag
I
van life.
hashtag van life, right? So do you think that so many are choosing that more flexible option? Do you feel as though, well, I think that the traditional notion of like American dream, ownership is that financial goal people have to reach. I
Mhm.
think that's being challenged. I
I do
think
too.
that like when I grew up, time and time and again, did I say that right?
Yes.
Time and time again, my dad, my grandparents, I remember my dad's friend, like they were telling me renting was throwing away money. And
That's what I
I
was being
think
told too. That's what I was told too.
did I just mess up? I meant pardon? Pardon?
Pardon?
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I said that was what I was taught too.
Okay, okay. Well, I I think renting is no longer seen as throwing away money. What do
hmm
you think?
I agree. I actually it feels like putting money into a house is throwing away money.
So if there's this growing trend of like renting by choice, right?
hmm
Even like high income earners, right? I mean, I know people that make six figures and they're choosing to rent. And there's actually a lot of people out there, like in the media, like Ramit Sethi, Grant Cardone. I mean, they talk about the fact that they rent and they
hmm
feel as though that the house you live in is not an asset, but houses that you own and rent can be an asset,
That's
but
interesting.
not the one you live in, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. So
You just had balloons go through your screen. Did you know that?
oh yeah, because I did something with my hands. I can do like this and be lasers. Lasers.
What?
You didn't know that? Yeah, man.
No.
It's all in the Apple camp.
If I do that, will it do it?
Um, are you on? Yeah, you should. Yeah. If you got it turned on, you got to have it enabled. So go up to your menu bar, click on the little camera deal, and then you have reactions turned on.
The camera, oh, the little FaceTime camera? What?
If you have reactions turned on, then there's a whole bunch. So you can do thumbs up and it gives you a little thumbs up bubbles.
What the what?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Well, actually, if you're Gen Z, this means like get the fuck out of here. So they hate the thumbs up emoji. You hate the thumbs up emoji? You're a millennial,
No, no, no. I'm a zennial.
a zennial. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm on the cusp
Okay.
between Z and millennial.
And I kind of believe that too, because like my house here, like yeah, I live in my own house, my paid off house. It is not an asset. Like I am not like the amount that it increases in value in appreciation does not offset all of the insurance, the taxes, the maintenance. And you know what? If I don't pay the taxes, it's still not mine. So I was like, what? Anyway,
That
so
I was thinking about that like before we started this. I was like, I would love to see like a 15 year, 15 year, 30 year. So for those people that like go with a 15-year loan because they say like always do the 15-year loan, right? Like
well, Dave Ramsey
with
says to do that.
okay, Dave Ramsey.
But yes,
I
yep,
suppose
totally get it.
Rachel Cruz too, but she's his daughter, so I
That's
guess
right.
that's the same
Totally get it.
thing.
Dude, have you
But
watched have you watched Smart Money Happy Hour or
I've
listened?
I've listened to it a couple times.
Oh my God.
They're
George
pretty fun.
Camel and Rachel Cruz, Smart Money Happy Hour, one of the best podcasts people should listen to. I just it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty funny to listen to them. But anyway, so like doing like a comparison of how much somebody spends on rent for 15 years and then like what they have to show for it at the end, and then with a house, like buying a house, and include insurance, house payments, like the increase, because they talk about, well, once you get a mortgage payment, it's not, nothing goes up, but that's wrong. Like
Oh,
taxes go
totally.
up, everything goes up, insurance goes up. I mean, my coworkers were talking like this last month about their insurance doubled and tripled. There's like tripled in a year,
Right,
like
right.
year over year.
I
So they
believe it.
went from paying, it just, that blows my mind, and that's not something, when you buy a house, that's not something you account for.
Totally.
You price it where it's at and you're like, okay, well, this is what I can afford. It fits perfectly in my budget. And then the year comes around, you're like, oh, wait, I owe $200 more a month for insurance because there was a hailstorm 3 times in the town next door to me.
Exactly. Exactly. Dude, you know what's crazy? What's crazy? You mentioned 15-year, 30-year. I absolutely was floored the other day because I came across it was like a headline. It grabbed me, right? But they're talking about how there now are extended term mortgages where people are getting 40 and 50-year mortgages on their homes. Is that not just insane? So they
What?
can, so they can afford it. I just can't believe that someone would lock themselves into 40 fucking years. I have the explicit badge so I can swear on my podcast, but
I mean, seriously.
that's just crazy to me. I
Well, and
think,
do you think those people think about the fact that, number one, are they going to be alive in 40 or 50 years? Because how old are they when they're doing that?
oh, you know what? I just recently read that like the first time home buyers now are like 36 years old or something,
Yeah.
like in their mid 30s or something.
Okay. So they do a 50-year loan. Are they going to live to be 86? And if they don't, look at what they're putting on their kids.
Dude, yeah. I think that is just such a bad. It's like one of those things where the banks are setting those people up to fail.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like when the predatory nature of like student loans or originally like, oh
Right.
yeah, this 18, 19-year-old now all of a sudden is gonna have all this debt and they don't even
Hmm.
know. I think I mean, by the time you're 30, I hope you would understand like I shouldn't take out a 40 or 50-year loan, but I think a lot of people don't. They just want to
I
get
don't
into
think they do.
I guess I wonder, we should do some research on that because that's the thing is if more and more people are choosing to rent and that the old American dream of like, I need home ownership as that ultimate financial goal, if that's
Hmm.
not necessarily the case, then why would you ever like get yourself into a 40 or 50-year mortgage? I don't know.
I feel like some people, like if they are not taught anything about finances, they are so easily won over by, well, it just makes sense. I'll pay it off eventually. Of course I'm going to pay it off eventually.
Yeah, all they look at is the monthly payment. They don't look
Hmm.
at any sort of long term. So they're like,
Right.
yeah, I can, if they get a 40 or 50-year mortgage, then their payment is so much less and now they can afford their car payment and their mortgage
Hmm.
and their like but you are literally trapped. You're trapped into that 9 to 5.
Right.
So did you ever have to like what influenced your decision? So the last time we looked at this, you were renting
Hmm.
and I think you probably won out because you had, a pool that you didn't have to care for. You could just use it whenever. You had party rooms, you had, you know, all the things.
Hmm.
But now you own a home.
Hmm.
Was that an easy, hard decision? What were some of the things that influenced it? Was it square footage? I mean, your place is a lot bigger now.
Not really.
You don't think so?
I think having the added basement and the garage, like the attached garage, but I think as far as like square footage of like livable space, it's not really that much bigger.
I guess in my head, I just thought it was, I mean, because I've been to both your places, it just seemed bigger,
Mhm.
but maybe not.
I think maybe by like 100 or 200 square feet.
Mm. But you got more
Um,
storage, more places to keep your shit.
More places to put stuff. Yes. The yard, I mean, that
Oh yeah.
was that was a big sell for me, just having somewhere to just be without people seeing, without having to people, without having people around
You
all
just
the
want to be a
time.
little hermit by yourself.
No,
No, I get
no,
it.
I
I
think
get
it's
it. You
just,
get more privacy, sure.
having a little more privacy, having the ability to do projects, although that was a great idea to begin with, and now I get very overwhelmed by the projects that I create in my head that I want to do. But I mean, like the first thing Grayson did when we moved in here was he jumped on the floor like up and down for like 10 minutes. And he's like, "Look, Mom, nobody's gonna come upstairs and yell at us,"
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's a huge one.
you know? And that was a big deal. Like
Yeah,
we can make whatever noise we want to make. We can play music loud if we want to.
you
At
can
any, I
turn the
can
amp, you can turn the amp up to 11.
exactly. I can vacuum at 11 o'clock at night. And nobody's gonna care. You know,
Sure.
it's stuff like that that it it definitely adds to the pros list,
Okay. Okay.
but there's still parts of me that like, oh, I miss renting.
Mm,
Like I miss not having to have the responsibility of replacing my roof,
sure.
you know?
So I just did I mention so I recently so what are some other things? It's funny you mentioned about noise. So I lived in an apartment up until sixth grade, right? So kindergarten through sixth grade. And I remember one time, man, the neighbors, so we were always on the ground level,
Okay.
but the neighbors above us, man, there was sometimes that they were so freaking loud all the time. I remember one time my dad, like he went in the closet and grabbed like an old pair of crutches that he had, and he was like, bam, 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 bam. He was like banging on the floor, like, or the ceiling, which was their floor, just bam, 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 bam. Oh, it was pretty funny.
Oh,
That was good.
that's how my mom used to wake me up in the morning with a
Just bang.
broomstick.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny. I remember that gave me I was such a bad kid. That gave me the idea that every now and then, like if my dad and I were like fighting, I would go and pick up the phone and threaten that I was gonna call like protective services. I'm making the call, Dad. I'm making the call. Oh, so funny. I was like, Dad, stop hitting me. Dad, stop hitting me. Oh, it's so funny. Um, yeah, he was the best. I mean, seriously, I was such a little prick. Um,
I feel like somewhere in the middle between renting and fully owning a house
mhm.
is buying a townhouse or a condo.
But then you got these huge HOAs, which just
I
drive me
know, but
crazy.
that's what I mean is like I feel like it's somewhere in between because you don't have the responsibility of the outside, but you have the full responsibility of the inside, but then you still have to pay a fee for it. So it's like it's almost as bad as owning a house and having to replace your roof because you're basically paying a home equity loan every month for them to take care of it in case it happens.
Like I feel as though, and this is again something why I wanted to kind of cover this again because I brought it up to like a business group that I'm in,
Hmm.
and it was crazy to talk with these other, small business owners and business people in the community because it was very clear that, and again, maybe it's an age thing. It was very clear that they felt as though that owning a house still was an investment, which is fine. You can think whatever you want. That's fine. But I remember like there was one guy there too that also thought there was like some stigma there, right? Like he felt as though it would be embarrassing to rent. Like who would be 50 years old and still renting? Or you're out on a date and oh, you want to go back to my place, my apartment. Like, but the thing is, it's like you can't compare. Like, there's apartments that are nicer than my house. So,
Right.
I mean, do you think renting often gets painted as this less successful option?
Yeah.
Even today, you still think that's the case?
Maybe it just depends on the person. But yeah, I do think like I think there is still a little bit of a stigma
How do you
that's hard to
start to shift
shake.
that? that narrative. Because when I meet someone, I mean, I'll just ask like, "Oh, do you own or rent?" And I have no opinion either way. Like they can
Right.
choose whatever they want. And
Well, I know, I mean, I had moments of shame when I would be like, oh yeah, I'm just renting an apartment. I would
really,
always, yeah, I always felt less than because I was
oh
renting it.
no, okay,
And that's why I say I don't know if it just depends on the person. Like if I owned, a 4,000 square foot like condo,
hmm
5 bedroom type thing, maybe I'd be walking out going, yeah, I rent an apartment.
right, right.
I don't know. I don't know if it's just I don't know.
Because I'm on some real estate groups, and they'll post like not condos that are for sale, but they'll post sometimes apartments in Minneapolis or whatever, and
Mm.
the rent is still, $3,200 a month, and it's a fantastic place and amazing views. And oh my gosh, like it would be fantastic to live there, but I don't know who would afford that. But
Yeah, but if you think about it, those are probably the same people that buy luxury houses that have a $3,200 mortgage.
yeah, yeah, that's crazy to me. Because this is a question that came up before, is that, I had never rented because because of the kind of influence from my family and stuff, right?
Mhm.
I bought my first house right at 20 years old when I moved out.
And you're still there.
Well, no, I mean I bought a tiny little crappy house.
Oh, different house.
Um,
Okay,
like
but you went from owning to owning.
correct, correct. Yeah,
Okay.
this is actually my third house.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the thing is like, so if you go back, let's look at, I was talking to my son about this earlier. I said, hey, I'm going to talk with April tonight, and we're going to talk about owning versus renting. And I still think it's hard because houses are just so much more expensive and people just don't make enough.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a pretty simple, you know, pretty
Right.
simple problem. So, I mean, is it, if you really want to own a house, it's hard, but there's options out there. You don't have to save 20%. Like you can
Yeah.
get into a property at 2.5, 3% or whatever,
Yeah.
and you can save it. Yeah, yeah, you're still saving a down payment, but
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, it still hurts in the end to not put that down.
yeah, I didn't realize like a friend of mine, when you're in the military, you get a VA loan with zero down.
Hmm.
And he was saying, "Oh, hi. Someone was tapping me on my shoulder. Hi."
Oh, Bella.
Um, so if you were going to, let's say you have a 30-year-old. Oh, look at the
Yeah.
baby.
The little baby.
So like I got a baby too. Look.
I know. It's
So
the kitty show.
yeah, I know. So let's say you have a friend that's 30 years old right now,
Hmm.
right? Decent job, a little bit of savings, unsure whether, what to do. Are they going to rent? Are they going to buy? What would you tell them?
Oh my gosh.
What's the advice you would give them?
I think I would ask the really deep questions of what is your reasoning for buying? If the reason for buying is we want to put down roots, we just want to have a place of our own, blah, 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 fine. But if they're like, oh, we're just outgrowing the townhouse that we're renting right now, it's like, oh, well, then find a bigger townhouse,
Hmm.
you know. I do have a friend I think he's in his mid 30s, married, has 2 kids, and they rent a townhouse right now. And they're looking at buying a house outside of the city. And like, there's such a small part of me that was like, just find another place to rent.
Unless he wants land, wants acreage or something, or yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And that would be the other thing too, is like if you want, if you're planning on being a farmer or doing a homestead type thing, that's a whole different thing.
Well, like we talked about earlier, like being able to get up and move. Like
Hmm.
I I have roots. Like I was born here, probably gonna die here. Like I have no
Yeah.
desire to really like, oh, I'm gonna pick up like my buddy, man. My buddy he's moving to West Virginia for a job.
Mm.
Just like picking up and relocating, like that man, it just scares the crap out of me. I don't, I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. I think I've mentioned before, like that's why I didn't go to college anywhere
Hmm.
because the thought of moving away from home just scared me, being on my own.
But you're on your own now.
Well, but I'm close. I'm like basically 30 minutes away from anybody that I know.
That's true. That's true.
Uh,
I did the exact opposite. I turned 18 and moved
see
350
ya.
miles away on my own. Granted, I lived with family, but I was still like on my own, and then I 3 years later got married and moved another 350 miles away, so it's like I don't know. I don't know any different. But it's a weird thing because I wanted so bad to buy a house when I was renting. And now that I own a house, it feels like so much pressure
Mm, like how so?
because it's like I am responsible for everything that has to do with
Oh,
this place.
interesting. So you feel pressure to
Yeah,
keep it, the
everything.
maintenance, the
Yeah.
repairs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Ah,
Like if
just
the
let it
wiring,
go. Just let it go.
if the wiring is bad, like I don't know how to fix that.
April, I got shit that I should have fixed years ago. Just let it go.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I get it. I do. I do.
I mean, okay, so for instance, you had issues with water. I remember that was a few years ago. I think that was still when Kaylee and Mari were living there. And you kept getting a water bill that was like
Oh,
$800 or something like that. And you were like, "How is this possible?"
well, it's because my girls were taking like 2 showers a day. I had the sprinkler system going. It was, it was a lot of stuff that I was using. Yes.
But I mean, but that's the kind of thing that it's like when you are not prepared for that kind of
Oh,
thing,
totally.
you know,
Yeah,
and you're like,
like right now, I know ahead of time because I'm watering 3 times a day.
yeah,
I'm making sure that I know that what's coming.
right.
Yeah. And my girls would sit in the shower for like a half hour. Like come on. I literally was looking at getting like a timer
I
like on the
remember
shower
that.
head and have it set that like they can't shower
Shut
more
off.
than this.
I mean, seriously, didn't they get like cold water after so long?
Well, I had a pretty big water here. I don't know.
Oh gosh. There you go.
Yeah, gas meters just fucking just spinning.
You got a Clark Griswold thing going on only with water and not lights.
Uh, so do you think we talked a little bit about we talked before about like the dream of homeownership is not what it used to be.
Mhm.
Do you think that it still holds some power? Like, do you think people, I guess the people that like you said, you had a friend that's thinking about
Mhm.
buying. Do you think that people still, well, you said you felt it, right? Like
Mhm.
you needed this, you needed to buy a house to be successful. And
Yeah.
I put that,
Well, I don't even know if it's necessarily successful. I feel like, you know, they talk about like how I just feel like there's a fork. Like there's two types of people. There's the ones that get married like out of high school, out of college, they find their person, they buy their house, they do the things that they're supposed to do. And it's like that doesn't necessarily make them successful, but it's like they check the boxes
I like how you
of
said they're
life.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's like the expectation of what
It
they,
is. It's the full expectation because that's what we were raised to think, right? And then you have the other ballpark that's like, I have zero interest in getting married right now. I want to live my life. I want to do what I want to do. I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to do all these things and work remote. And those people are not going to buy a house and they're not going to get married until they're 40 or their late 30s, may never have kids, because they probably won't ever buy a house. They will probably be the forever renters because they just want to be able to pick up and leave whenever they want.
interesting. Yeah, I'm still debating what I'm going to do. I mean, I may have mentioned in another episode. I mean, I have another like 3.5, 4 years or so
Hmm.
where I will downsize my primary house here in Minnesota. And then
Yeah, because you're thinking about renting in Minnesota, aren't you?
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, so if I downsize here in Minnesota because I'm gonna be somewhere else, somewhere warm in the winter,
Hmm.
right? So I know I said like I wouldn't just move across town, but see, I'm just gonna be there for like 3 months,
Hashtag van life.
right? Because that's the thing, man. So then I could visit all the, all the cities that are below the snow
Right.
belt.
Then when you come back, you can just park in someone's driveway.
So, but yeah, I was seriously thinking like downsize this place. Well, I sell this place. Let's say I sell this place, I get 450, right?
Hmm.
Okay, well, I could rent something smaller, right? I don't need 2,500 square feet, five
Right.
bedrooms, right? I could rent something smaller and then I would probably, well, I was gonna say rent something either, Arizona, Florida, New Mexico, like wherever I decide to go. I would rent that for 3 months or whatever. But
Hmm.
if I had a camper, then I could figure it out. I don't know.
Right.
Dude, I gotta find somebody that I know a couple people that live full time, like they're nomads.
Hmm.
I gotta get them on the show because I'm just really curious how that brain works.
That would be a really good episode.
Yeah, because I've talked to them like at other meetups and like
Hmm.
campfire events. Those of you that haven't been there, I really encourage you go to campfire. Go to campfire.org. There's a lot of different meetups across the country, and it's basically 50, 60 people we get together. And there's some structured presentations and stuff about personal finance, but also it's just people hanging out, having fun, recreation. Here in Minnesota, you go kayaking, play frisbee, like all of the camp stuff, and then you're up, till 2 in the morning, having conversations at the campfire, and it's pretty fun. So
That's cool.
because a lot of the other like people that are nomads, I'll meet someone and I'm like, oh, where are you from? And they're like, I'm full time in my camper, and I'm like, wow. Some of them have like a fifth wheel, and they'll
How
just
do they
like
collect mail?
yeah, there's different services that'll do it for you and they scan everything for you and send you stuff and the packages you'll have you can actually route it to different locations, different like post offices and stuff.
Well, I mean, I know like Amazon, you can like pick a box or
Yep.
something that you can pick it up at, but
Yeah, like for packages, but like regular mail, like all
Mhm.
your bills and all that stuff, there's services out there that will open it, scan it, send it like that you get all of it electronically.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I feel like I would have to have like a PO box in like four different cities across this.
I don't like I said, I have roots, man.
See, it's just things like that like how do you do that?
Well, so when I talk to some people, I'll mention like, well, do you have a home base? And a lot of them do. Like this one couple that travel. I mean, they travel all over, not only the U.S. but abroad and stuff too. They're like, yeah, her mom's house is home base. So
Hmm.
when they have downtime, whatever, they make a point to visit mom's house, stay at mom's house for a period of time. If there's anything that they need to reference or send something to, it's always back to mom's house. So I mean, that would be at least something I would need. I mean, you talk to my girls and man, they would just go wherever the wind took them. They would just,
Hmm.
I mean, I think Mari would love just to have hashtag van life and just be a vagabond with no
Yeah.
set. It's interesting because I've learned now being retired, I learned that I absolutely love, we talked a little bit about this in a previous episode with Kevin, my friend Kevin Sebesta, about not having scheduled time.
Hmm.
And I am been practicing gratitude because I absolutely love my unscheduled time.
Yeah. You had a hard time with that to begin with, though.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I was
You
freaking out.
really, I remember you really struggled with that to begin with.
Yep. Now I love having like I can work on my blog, I can write articles, I can play guitar, I can, you know, I can do whatever I want in my unstructured time, and it's
Hmm.
pretty rad. I'm getting to embrace that.
That's
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Do you think so, you mentioned like if you had someone that you're going to give advice to,
hmm.
do you think renting also frees people up from like other ways, right? So like let's say, like they're changing careers or they're prioritizing family or they're starting a business. Do you think that's easier to do if you're renting? I'm just curious
Um,
because people seem to think that they need to get this home to start a family, but they don't.
Interesting. No. Like it's not, I mean, it isn't a prerequisite to get a business loan to have a home mortgage.
Hmm.
I mean, and that's, I think maybe that's one of the other things too is, when they, I mean, as weird as this is, like for home placements, like for foster care, stuff like that, I feel like sometimes they look at that, owning a home, you're a responsible adult, whereas if you're renting, you're not a responsible adult. So there is a stigma to that.
Dude, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, like, I can understand why people would say, well, we have to buy a house if we want to start a family because you can't raise a family in an apartment, but that's so not true.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, I think people that are listening out there, I know it's people always tell you, well, evaluate your own situation, but it is true, right? Like what you said,
Yeah.
really kind of determine why is it that you want to buy? Is it because you
Yeah.
want land? Do you want a yard? Do you want like all of the things?
Don't do
And
it because of the stigma or because of the expectation.
right, right. The expectation that, well, isn't that what I'm supposed to do? Because that's what
Hmm.
I thought. And now I'm like totally like, no, not really. I mean, I look at the opportunity cost of all of the money that I've spent, not only just the down payment to get into the house, but all the taxes and the insurance and all of the
Hmm.
things, right? The maintenance. As I mentioned in a different podcast, after 22 years, 23 years, I, had to get new appliances. I had to get new carpet. It was,
Right.
worn out. I mean, all of the things that are thousands and thousands of dollars.
Hmm.
And
And it all
it,
happens at the same time.
it does. So, one thing I was so crazy is that I had a couple things going wrong, like with my appliances after 20 years or whatever. And so I did get all new appliances. And I will tell you, my old appliances from 1999, when the house was built, were far better than any of the
Oh,
new shit that I
isn't
got.
that true?
It's so crazy. The new shit I have is horrible.
I know. I have a washer and dryer that came with the house, and I am 90% sure that it was probably the original. And this house was built in 96.
Mm.
And oh my gosh, I can put like a king comforter in that washing machine. It is so
That's
big.
that's awesome.
And I would never be able to find one that would be able to handle that
Right, right.
without messing something up and having to fix it. Those things, I mean, they make a lot of noise, but man, they are workers.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I mean my dishwasher that I had, like when I bought the place, it
Mhm.
was like a GE or Kenmore. I think they're the same.
Yeah.
No, are those the same? I can't remember who makes what. But anyway, it was
Right.
Kenmore, which is a Sears brand, I think. But anyway, it was awesome. Like my dishwasher worked awesome. But you know what? It was like some wear spots, the
Yeah.
seals, the things like the tips were all getting rusty. I mean, some of the things, right? So I'm like, it's 20 some years old, probably time to get a new one. And I bought the whole package because I was redoing the kitchen.
Right.
So I wanted them to look awesome. And yeah, the first thing I noticed was the new dishwasher. It was a Samsung. It's horrible. It's a piece of garbage.
I have
It
heard so
hardly works. And
sorry.
my Samsung microwave,
Hmm.
oh my God. Like it stopped working within weeks and they sent the repair guy out. Repair guy couldn't fix it. He had to bring it back to the shop. So then he brought it back the next week, installed it, stopped working again. And then I called him and I'm like, can I just get this swapped out to get a new one? And they're like, no, I got to have someone out there to fix it 3 times before they'll replace it. Like it was just so silly.
What?
I know it was so silly. So now and then when they fixed it the second time, when he put it back, it's like he didn't like put the case on properly and it was all like bowed out. And I'm like, bro, I went and looked at it while the guy was still here and I'm like, hey man, can you fix this? Like how did you see that like it was such shitty
Why was that
workmanship?
okay to you?
Oh my God, right? And anyway, I know
I
this
heard
is
that
not a
same thing about the dishwashers too, though. Like Samsung needs to stick to what they're good at.
dude. So my buddy had one of the Samsung wash machines that like exploded. Like he sent me a photo. There was like, I don't know, it was like several years ago, but there was like a certain style brand, like whatever, that something would happen like during the spin cycle and it would just like I don't know, like literally come undone.
Oh
Like it could kill people. It was so crazy. I know this isn't a home improvement podcast, but
my
I really should have bought the LG package. I'm just saying.
gosh.
I mean, that was not the best, whatever $3,500 I spent or whatever I did.
I'm not brand matching. I have a GE microwave, a GE dishwasher, and an LG fridge.
Oh, and this is funny too. Like I one of the things that you never think about, right? And so I when I redid my kitchen during COVID and I got the matching kitchen appliances and I got this like slate color, this like gray slate stainless
Okay.
steel, right? Stainless, but
Is
it's
it
like a
matte?
no, it's not. It's not
Okay.
matte. But so that's the thing is like so I get all these pieces installed and the thing that is so crazy is that because it had like fingerprint reducing
Oh,
thing,
right.
like right, you don't see fingerprints. But what they don't tell you is it just attracts every ounce of dust and cat hair ever known to man. So it's like I literally like now, I mean, it's just coded. It just
Oh
statics every piece of dust in the air. Like I have like lint-free cloths and I'm like wipe it down and like within minutes it's like dust and cat hair. Like it's horrible. And then when the sun shines in through the window, all you
no.
see is like cat hair all over the front of the range.
Oh
And
my gosh.
it's the funniest thing because I'm like it's like I almost want it that it's a great platform on the podcast. So yeah, buy that stainless steel slate that doesn't retain fingerprints, but it absolutely will gather every piece of dust.
This needs to be clipped and testimonialed to like
Oh my
home
God.
improvement stores.
Like who would have thought? Yeah, it was horrible. Anyway, but I've been living with it now for the last 5 years or whenever I did that COVID time. When was that? 5 years? Yeah.
Do you just have a little hook next to you and you just every time you walk by you wipe
Dude,
it down?
every time. It's horrible. I even tried like all these like tips, like you're supposed to be able to like wipe stuff down with like a dryer sheet
Okay.
and it's supposed to like repel like the static repel dust or
How's
something.
that work for you?
Oh, it didn't work at all. So if anyone has tips, okay, I would love to know if someone chooses to rent versus buying, if you still think that, hey, it's an American dream and I am going to buy a house, I own a house, it is an investment. I want to hear from you too. So I want to thank everyone for listening. I really do appreciate it. April, thank you so much for joining me this episode. Super
Oh,
fun.
super
And
fun.
you'll be back.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll be back.
I'll bribe you to come back. And thanks again for listening. Please be sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Like us on YouTube. We really would appreciate it. And please share with your friends, your family, your relatives. And we will see you next time on the Extreme Personal Finance Show. See ya.